goal, I want you to act like you just hit it, right? And then I want you to keep up the excitement, the joy, the motivation, the inspiration, all right? Because as I do it, I'm going to go around because I want to see each person's face, and I'm going to, either shake your hand or bump or whatever you want to do, but I'm going to do that. But you got to keep everything going, right? Because then if you lose motivation, I might stop. All right? Y'all ready? I know y'all can do it, right? Y'all going to do it? Yeah, I want y'all to roar. Any kind of noise, a riot, anything. Make the medium think something's going over here, right? Y'all ready? Y'all, don't leave me out there hanging now. Don't have me walking and then I can hear my footsteps. All right, I'm gonna start, and I'm not gonna come back up here until I see everybody. All right, y'all ready? All right, go. Thank you. Sit down. All right, that was my icebreaker, y'all. That was mine. All right, before I say anything else, just give Miss Allen a big hand for putting this together. She asked me to be a speaker. I told her no, but that's a lie because I'm standing. All right, so before I get started, I promise y'all I'm not going to be up here that long. Before I get started, I'm just going to say a little bit about myself, just because I don't want anybody to think, maybe I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth or anything, because sometimes people think a lot of things when they hear your background or they see you dressed. When I walked in here, somebody commented on my purple, and then they told me, no, don't worry about it, just say it's grape. And I said, okay, I like that, I'm going to say it's grape. So anyway, I was raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I wasn't born there. I was actually born in Frankfurt, Germany. I'm not a Nazi. My dad was in the military, so that's how I ended up over there, and I was born. But I was raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I don't know why I missed all the things that got all of my friends either killed or in jail, but I'm thankful that I did miss it. But as I was in school growing up, I got in a lot of trouble. I did things that should have landed me either dead or in prison, to be honest with you. All right? So I don't look at anybody here or any other place as beneath me or you did something. As a matter of fact, the last time I spoke to a group, I told them the only difference between them and me was, they got caught and I didn't. So that's a little bit. I did a lot of things, but I went to the military, changed my life around, and I ended up, I wasn't a good person in school, by the way. My grades were average, like 2.0. So I dreamt of going to college, but never really thought I would because I probably couldn't afford it, right? So anyway, one day somebody asked me, hey, are you in school? I said no, and she said, why not? I said, because I don't have time. So she slapped me upside my head, made me get up, and then she went to a website on the computer, found the university and told me to sit down and sign up for class. And then ever since that particular day, the rest was history. I went to school, I got my bachelor's degree, and make a long story short, I just kept going until I eventually graduated with my PhD. So that's just a little bit about me. What are we going to talk about tonight? We're going to talk about having a renewed mind, all right? Now, I know this is not church, right? But I like interaction, I like call and response. So I'm going to be telling you to do certain things or asking you to do certain things or say certain things throughout the presentation. The reason why is because I want to know that you're here, you're with me, you're excited, and you're inspired All right, is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, see y'all? I thought I was going to have to remind you. All right, so renewed minds. This quote, that's mine. Y'all say that's mine. Oh, come on, y'all say that's mine. An unchanged mind will never change your life. How many of you agree with that? All right, good. We off to a good start then. I have some notes. I'm going to try not to stand up here and stick to them, but I got to do that because I don't want to go into a long rabbit hole. I want to keep everything going. All right, so here's the first thing I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes really, really quick. I'm going to ask you to repeat something out loud to yourself. As loud as you can, I want you to repeat to yourself. When I say 3, I want you to repeat to yourself, who was I? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. 3.
Who was I?
One person did it. Let's try that again. Really loud. Say it to yourself out loud. You should blow my ears off. On 3, who was I? 3.
Who was I?
All right. Now, as you think of who you were, what I mean is, who were you that got you where you are right now? I want you to think about that for a couple of seconds. Don't stay there, though. We're going to move, all right? Next question. Keep your eyes closed. Now I want you to say to yourself, who am I? On 3. Are you ready?
Yes.
3.
Who am I?
All right. In other words, who am I now? What have I done since I've been here? Who am I now? What have I become? What changes have I made? I want you to think about that. Get a picture of it in your head. All right. And then the last one, I want you to repeat to yourself on 3, who can I be? Are you ready? One more time. 3.
Who can I be?
All right. Who can I be? That means now that I realize who I was, who I am now, now I'm in a place where who can I be? All right, open your eyes. Who can I be? I think Miss Allen was talking about it earlier when she was talking to you about all the different things that you could do on the outside. So everyone needs a little motivation, right? An inspiration to continue learning and growing, because the world is ever changing, right? And life presents a lot of challenges throughout the days, the weeks, the months, the years. Everybody agree, correct? All right, all right. So, since you've been here, you've probably done what I call healing work. That means whatever reason you ended up here, maybe you joined some programs, you joined some talks, you went to see somebody and you talked about some attitudes and behaviors that landed you in here, correct? Y'all did some healing work, right? All right, so we're not going to talk about that tonight. Healing work is the past. Y'all say the past.
The past.
And we're not going to stay there, right? No. What? All right, all right. This is what we're doing tonight. Growth work. Y'all say growth work.
Growth work.
Growth work.
Growth work.
Growth work.
Growth work.
All right, so growth work involves taking your circumstances and taking your situations and being able to operate differently so that it can propel you into your future, all right? So growth work involves learning to navigate your current circumstances and resources in a new way. So that's what we're going to do. Tonight, we're going to talk about inspiration, motivation, and transformation. These two things mean the same thing, right?
No.
Who say yes? No? Who say no? Oh, some of you just don't know. Inspire, right? Motivate. We're talking about inspiration, motivation, and transformation. Inspiration, that means these two right here, that's my job tonight. This one right here is your job, right? Transformation. I can't do that for you, but I can inspire you. I can excite you. I can pump you up. I can give you some information that'll impel you, right? And then I can motivate you. That means I can give you a reason to act on what I just told you. The information that I gave you is what you can use to motivate you to go into the future that you choose for yourself, right? That's what you can do. All right, so here's a couple of truths. Incarceration can perpetuate cycles of disadvantage, hindering your perspective and prospects for reintegration into society upon release. Y'all agree with that statement, right? All right. One statistic. I don't want to bore you with a lot, so I just chose one, and I'm going to read it. A U.S. DOJ analysis of recidivism rates in 24 states concluded that 82% of justice-involved adults released from custody were arrested at least once during the 10 years following their release. Within 1 year release, 42% of formerly incarcerated adults were re-arrested. Say, that's not going to be me. Say it like you mean it. That's not going to be me. That's not going to be me. All right. See, that's why I had y'all talking back. Y'all heard that crack in my voice, right? Oh, man. Y'all, okay. All right. We're going to go ahead to some impact statements because I think I heard Miss Allen say that she shared some stories that were relatable to you, right? Right? I heard in the back, she said she shared some stories that were relatable to you. So when she came to me and asked me to talk, the first thing I did was say, okay, I'll do it. And then I thought, what can I say that can relate to people who are incarcerated? Why? Because I haven't been incarcerated. I'm not incarcerated. Although I work here and have been around incarcerated people and have also been a person who didn't work for law enforcement, who actually went in several years ago when I was younger. I used to go in with my church, and we would actually talk to people on Sundays when I used to live in Tennessee. But I had no personal impact story to share. So I wanted to share something that was relevant. So what I did was I found one person who went to prison, who's no longer in prison, and is actually a successful business owner. Two people, as a matter of fact, those two people right there. So we have, I don't know if you know him, you can't see his name, so I'll just say it. His name is DrWhitty. And then, I don't know if you can see, so I'm just going to talk about him a little bit. He used to sell drugs, but actually, when he went to jail, he didn't go to jail because he was actually selling drugs. He actually went to jail because he was selling some sort of base. And so he was sentenced to what? It says 37 and a half years in prison, right? So what he did was, of course, he felt like, you know, that was crazy, 37 and a half years for his offense. So he decided to go to the library, use the tools. The legal library is what you call it. He used the tools. He turned down assistance from a lawyer because he wanted to find out his own information. I don't know, perhaps he didn't trust him, right? So either way, long story short, he didn't do 37 and a half years. Did I put up there how many he did? 20 years. Yeah, he only did 20 years. But I chose him because he was in for 20 years. He was a person who didn't do well in school. He lost his motivation. He chose to sell drugs. He said he had a counselor that basically told him he'd be nobody. And so that was a part of his discouragement. He went on to sell drugs. He's got a whole book that he actually wrote. And he's also a business owner. He's a motivational speaker. I think he does some narration at the Obama Library and quite a few other things. And I think I already said that he's a motivational speaker. So he's a good one to relate that he did not end up back in prison. He took what he learned and he made it work out. Now this guy right here is actually my brother. Y'all say, that's your brother? Yes. That's my brother. And as a matter of fact, while I was thinking about somebody to talk about, I can't even believe he should have been the first person I thought about, but totally slipped my mind until then I said, wait a minute, my brother was in jail. Let me ask him, right? So this information, I'm just actually finding out. I knew he sold drugs. I knew that he went to jail, but I didn't know that he was up for 35 years and that he only served what? 5? Yeah, I didn't know that information. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he said that one day the cops were after him and one of the cops went to try to shoot him and the gun jammed. I didn't know that he tried to shoot other folks who robbed him while he was selling his drugs. that he tried to shoot them and his gun jammed several times. I didn't know that one of the law enforcement people had caught him and had their knee, he didn't say where, he just said they had their knee pinning him down, and that my mother came out and saw it, and that was one of the pivotal moments that helped him change his trajectory. Not only that, but my grandfather told him that he could never come back into the house, and since my grandfather meant a lot to him, that was an impactful statement, right? So why am I sharing those two stories? I'm sharing those two stories because perhaps you can relate to them. Maybe you didn't sell drugs, I don't know, but I figured they're relatable because why? These people have been in your shoes, correct? They've been in your shoes. They had all the reasons, all the excuses, all whatever it is you could name, they probably had it, right? And when they got out, the odds were against them. They went to apply for jobs. I know he went to apply for jobs and people turned him down. People laughed at him. People told him, no, you'll never get to do that particular job. Why? Because you've been to prison. So, you know what I know that he did? He ended up having several jobs that he did, some that he learned while he was in prison. He had he still has a business cutting hair. He had a business doing floors. I heard her mention buffing, right? He had a business buffing and cleaning floors. He also had a car washing business, a detail business, and I can't think of one other business he had, but he's also right now married, got 2 kids that already graduate, that are in college, and he's actually a ordained minister now. So those are 2 people that beat the odds of people telling them what they could not do, what they could not become as a result of their past, all right? So I wanted to share that with you because I knew you could relate to that. All right, real quick, these are 8 talking points that I'm just going to go over real quick. I don't have my glasses, so you might see me do that because I don't see what that is. But I want you to repeat these things, right? Number 1, and I want to point out is 8, right? Who knows what 8 represents?
Completion.
What? Infinity. That's one thing. What's another one? Why y'all in this class? What's the theme? What's the theme for tonight? Second chances. 8 represents new beginnings, so I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was neat. All right, number one. Repeat after me. Mistakes don't define you unless you allow it.
Mistakes don't define you unless you allow it.
Say it again. Mistakes don't
define you unless you allow it.
All right, y'all believe that? All right, number 2. Learn from your mistakes and missteps.
Learn from your mistakes and missteps.
Say it one more time. Learn from your mistakes and missteps.
Learn from your mistakes and missteps.
Number 3, give yourself permission to begin again.
Give yourself permission to start again.
One more time.
Give yourself permission to start again.
Number 4, begin by bouncing back in your mind.
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 Number 5, change begin with transforming your mind.
Change begins with transforming your mind.
One more time. Change begins with transforming your mind.
Transforming your mind.
Number 6, this is key. Nothing just happens. You make things happen.
Nothing just happens. You make things.
How many of you have kids? Mothers, fathers, all right? How many of you have spoken to them since you've been in here? Now, my question is, when you get out of here, how many of you think they're the same person that they were before you came in? Any of them? How many of them are still the same age? How many of them have the same interests? Probably none of them, right? Why am I asking you that question? Because you're not even the same person. You don't have the same interests. You're not even the same age, right? So when you go back out into society, there's going to be a lot of things that you are not used to. There's going to be a lot of things about you that your family is not used to. And it's going to require patience. It's going to be tough because after that, after that wedding wear out, and I use that term to represent when you come home and everybody's all excited. And they're like, oh, yeah, oh, you can come over here and live with me, right? Until, you know, the honeymoon wear off, and now you got to get out and find a job, or you got to do this or do that. So you're going to need patience, right? You got to recognize that there's going to be this barrier, missed time. So it's going to require patience, right? And this is your ultimate goal, reintegration, but it's going to require patience, not just from you, but your family as well. You're going to need social support. That's including your family, but also restorative programs, supporting organizations. And I'm sure while you're in here, you'll probably get more of this information from reentry when you come to classes like this. It's considered a restorative program, a supporting organization when you get on the outside, right? There's a lot of that formerly incarcerated adults who actually own support organizations for people who are coming out of prison. Why? Because they've been in your shoes and they know the challenges that you're going to face. Also, you're going to have to do this. You probably already started. Being in this class is part of self-development, right? Reading, writing, higher education, college. I heard her talking about trades. What types of trades? Barber, floors, what else? What else? Just yell something out. Carpentry, what else? Electrician, what else? Plumbing. I can tell you for one that I always need a plumber at my house. I always need an electrician. I probably had an electrician come to my house probably at least 5 or 6 times. And each time he came, I had to pay, I paid him about maybe $1,200, then it went to $8, then it went to $3. But that's an example of things that people need. People need people who do floors. A lot of people, particularly in Petersburg, like my house, I've got those old wooden floors. There's not many people who know what to do with them. So it's great that you have somebody who has a particular trade that you can use to take care of yourself. So this is a big one. You have to deal with the saboteur. Everybody knows what that means? It's okay to say no. Do you know what the saboteur is? Huh? A person that sabotages you? It could be, but the saboteur is that voice in your head that says, I can't do it. Or because I had some missteps and mistakes, or I failed, that perhaps I'll never become what I see in my head for my future. You have to do things to keep this, I'm going to call it a thing, I'm not going to call it a person. You have to keep that thing under control, all right? Also, you know we live in a more technically savvy age, right? Some of you might, I don't know if you have them or not, but you might have tablets or something that is considered more technically advanced than when you first came in, right? So when you get out, you're going to be faced with computers, all sorts of gadgets that maybe you don't know how to use yet. But you're going to have to learn how to use it and be patient and allow other people that know how to use it to show you how to use it. Why? Because this is where we like to say the world is right now. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of social media platforms, and people use this to get jobs, to be in contact with their family. There's very little mailing letters and talking and communicating with people the way we used to a long time ago. In fact, some people don't do anything but text. People barely call. Like, how many of you remember having a phone, and if you wasn't home, you just missed the call, right? You missed it. You remember the phone booth on the corner when you had to put a quarter in, and then you reached your head out and said, hey, man, you got a nickel, I need some more time. Anybody remember that? I remember. All right. I remember. So, got to bring yourself up to make sure you can compete. All right. Learning and mastering technology. I said that. This is a big one. Intrapersonal, interpersonal. Who knows the difference? Basically, this is taking a look at yourself. All right? This right here is using your skills to be able to better communicate with other people around you. All right? We're missing a lot of this in today. I don't know how much news you watch, but you can see all the violence that's taking place, and the reason why is because of people's lack of ability to communicate with each other. Instead of talking things out like we used to do a long time ago, we could argue, we could even fight, and we'd be friends the next day. Now it's more like, if you upset me, I have no idea how to communicate to you, so I'm gonna pull out a weapon and I'm gonna end it right there. All right? And we don't want that. Why? Because it'll make you end up where? Right back in here, right? So you gotta develop this interpersonal and interpersonal skills. All right? All right, so in a nutshell, the greatest transformation that you will be able to see is going to take place through love, compassion, patience, and empathy, and you're going to definitely need support. All right? To sum it all up, former adults in custody are doing some amazing things in society today, and you will be no different. How many of you believe that?